I don't know whether I want to start with Matthew Schaefer or Roger McQueen.
I don't even know where to start with I don't even know. I think
Um,
someone pointed out on Twitter, I don't remember who it was. It was so funny that the which I don't we had this whole conversation about rivalries. I don't know if we consider this a rivalry because it kind of is, but the Ducks aren't good. Anyway, the Kings and the Ducks being as close as they are, and
yeah.
somebody said that like the Ducks saw that the draft was in LA and they're like, how can I make this about us? And I was like, you know what? That is so true. Because
I
that's
think
exactly what they did.
I feel like the Ducks and the Kings have a rivalry in the way that the Giants and the Jets have a rivalry,
They
where it's
exist in the
like,
same place.
but it's stupid though because like the Ducks and Kings actually have like a reason to have a rivalry, like they're in the same conference.
And they're like right down the street from each other,
Yeah.
literally.
Whereas with the Jets and the Giants, I'm like, you guys aren't even like you play each other once every 4 years.
Yeah, literally. No, but
Um,
I thought it was
yeah.
iconic
I
for the Ducks.
I agree.
Like I don't know if he like I first off, I know that he probably wasn't gonna get taken before that, but like what was the backup plan? If he was gone in the first three, no, no, he was 10. Okay,
Yeah.
so if he was taken in the first nine, and then all of a sudden you're like, I have this helicopter waiting on the roof to bring this kid to Disneyland. They tell Disneyland everything, and then they don't get him. Like, then what do? You're like, sorry guys,
No, I'm sure that like whoever they ended up drafting, they probably would have taken
we
to
just brought Disneyland
Disneyland.
anyway.
Yeah, but I think it just like it was like a kismet thing that it worked
It's
out.
even funnier, yeah. Because even
I
I, like, my first initial thing, I was like, that kid's gonna be getting kachows for like the literally the entire amount length of his career. Like, I don't know if he does now, but he's going to now, like,
I
starting now.
I did see someone say like I fear that they just drafted him because it's a meme. And like no, like he's good at hockey, obviously. He
Yeah,
went number 10, but
I wouldn't
like
even like. I mean,
I just thought
maybe,
it was funny.
but I think the connection is very funny considering.
Also, apparently, I haven't confirmed this. I don't know if you have confirmation, but apparently he selected 95 as his number,
I think so. I want to say I saw that. I don't
which
know if it's official.
yeah, I saw it on an account that tends to report rumors first.
The Ducks don't have a 95 though, currently.
I
I
just
don't
think
think.
that that's hysterical. Like,
I think it's so funny.
okay, so if you don't know what we're talking about, hi, welcome back to Read Between the Blue Lines. That's Bree. I'm Mackenzie. This is a hockey podcast. Um, we're talking about the NHL entry draft that happened on Friday and Saturday, but mostly Friday for so long on Friday.
Way too long. Way too long.
Um, and I was only working for like 3 hours of it,
Oh
and
yeah,
that
I had
was
like six full. It was terrible.
no.
Actually, probably longer than that. And then I had 6 days, 6 hours the next day. So it's great. But
So the Anaheim Ducks, which are like based on a Disney,
the Mighty
the
Ducks
Mighty Ducks
of
from Disney.
Anaheim. Yeah,
Yeah.
literally.
They dropped Mighty. Now it's just the Anaheim Ducks, whatever.
Hmm.
But they have rebranded. They've gone back to Wild Wing. They go to Disneyland like literally all of the time.
Every year, I
Yeah.
think they have a
They
trip
have
there.
like a Ducks Day.
Yeah, which I
Um,
think is so cool.
so there's a kid in the entry draft whose name is Roger McQueen and like Lightning McQueen from Cars, which I would like to
Literally.
note he is younger than that movie is, and that is horrible.
Yes. Which is,
Um,
I hate that. I
I
hate
love that
knowing
he
that.
knows what the movie is, but I also was like, I hate it. Like what do you people are getting drafted who were born after Cars
Hello?
came out?
No, literally.
Like we're getting to the point where it's gonna be like they were born after like Frozen came out, and I feel like I can't handle that.
No. I
Um,
hope I
that's like
I
6, 7 years away.
fear for my sanity when that happens because I'm gonna be like, I was almost I was like almost graduating eighth grade. Like
Yeah.
I can't.
Um,
But 2007 is pushing it still because I'm just like, what? I was like a full grown, not full grown child, but I'm like a legitimate child at that point.
like I was already in school at that point.
Yeah.
So Also, I'm sure that anyone who's listening to this that's older than us is like hating us
I
right
know,
now.
literally.
They're like, I graduated college in 2006.
But I feel the same way about like when we go back, like we were talking about the at work the other day about the 2015 draft, and they're like, "Yeah, it was 10 years ago," and I was like,
Yeah.
"What do you mean this was 10 years ago?" I was like, so time's just fake."
I think
But
my frame of reference is always going to be stuck in the 2000s because, like, if you ask me about the 90s, I'm like, it's 10 years ago.
yeah, it all feels like it was 10 years ago.
And I know
Feels
that
like
that's
yesterday.
wrong, but I think that's always going to be my frame of reference. Like, I think
No,
that my
that
brain
makes
is
sense.
stuck in like 2005, which is weird because I was 4 years old.
I was gonna
But
say.
regardless, so anyways, he gets drafted number 10 to the Anaheim Ducks. And
Mhm.
the internet immediately goes insane. And then we find out that they
Wait,
put
wait, wait.
him. Nope,
But
go ahead.
also going back to the Mighty Ducks thing, they had two of the actual original Mighty Ducks from the
Oh
literal
yeah.
movie announce the pick, so it was very like a full circle, very Disney-esque already. We were getting to it, but
It was really fun. Also, like his friends were literally wearing like Lightning
the
McQueen
shirts!
merch. Yeah.
I love that.
So
Like
like
the fact that his friends are already in on it.
this was like a known like
Thing.
joke
Yeah.
before he got drafted. Then he got drafted literally to the Disney team, who then put him on a helicopter after drafting him and flew him to Disneyland to do a photo op with Lightning McQueen
He also met
in
Donald
Radiator
Duck.
Springs. Yes.
But yes, the life-size Lightning McQueen only resides in Disneyland. So I thought it was iconic. I also thought it was funny. We were talking about how long it was that this kid went to Disneyland before like the 24, like he was
Yeah,
there
but like
before like the 20th pick was made. It was crazy. But
yeah,
there's a
that's
literal
fair.
picture of him in his jersey with Lightning McQueen. It is the funniest thing ever.
And then it came
So
out
imagine
today.
like being at Disneyland, this random kid in the Duck jersey is like walking up to Lightning McQueen. I'm like, unless you know hockey, there's no way these people are just like, the heck is going on? Like,
That
what's
I saw Double
happening?
Hockey Sticks was saying like they wonder if like Disney adults understand what is going on or if they're just
Yeah,
like,
they're
huh?
just like this random kid in a hockey jersey's here taking a picture.
But
Like,
as the crossover between Disney adult and hockey fan, I'm really am loving it.
it's iconic.
And I love that the Ducks and the Sharks are like, ooh, vibes. And that's just what they're
Oh
going off
yeah,
right now. And it's okay. I'm okay with that.
I love it. I love that for them.
Better than what other teams are doing at the moment.
Yes, I also would rather have a vibey team than like a team that's not at all. There's no
Yes.
vibes or bad vibes. But yeah, the Ducks killed it. They were so good. It was I had no idea what was happening until it was this kid was literally like they were going to a commercial break or something, and they're like, he's on the roof walking to this helicopter, and I was like, they are bringing him to Disneyland. I actually would want to know if he's ever been to Disney before, or if that was like his first time ever, because like that's pretty. If that was your first time at any Disney park, like
That's
you
insane.
can't top that. I don't think, but yeah, it's pretty good.
I just it's like
I love the fun of
adorable.
it. I know, and like
Yeah.
it's so like that's one of those things that like yeah, he'll probably remember it forever, but like Ducks fans are gonna know like he's already like a legend to them for that specific reason, which sounds silly,
He's gonna
but
be, I don't
he's gonna
know
be
how
very
to,
well liked.
obviously he got drafted 10th overall. This is a very different situation from Matt Rempe, but like it feels in a
The
similar
fan favorite.
situation where he's gonna be their like person that everyone on
Yeah.
social media knows, even if they don't know
Yes.
hockey.
Yeah, that's a very good comparison.
Like Jack Hughes is to the Devils. Like that's
Yeah, like there's your also I think like this is kind of funny we say this now because after like when I thought this is very much present day Ducks, but like if you were asked me like one player off team immediately and you told me Ducks, I'd immediately think Trevor Zegras. So now that he's not there, I'm like you don't want to say face of franchise because he really wasn't that person, but like the fun guy that everybody
he
knows on the internet.
it's like it's a personality hire
Yeah,
almost. Like
so
that's
that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, like everybody knows
well,
who you are because you're fun.
it's annoying because I would have said Zegras and then I would have said Gibson, and that's gone now
Oh,
too.
that's yeah. So
So
Roger McQueen, welcome to
yeah,
your new position on the team.
you are the new personality hire.
What's the meme where it's like you are an elite?
Yes,
Yeah,
I know what
the
you're
elite
talking
employee,
about.
whatever it is. You've been promoted. That's exactly what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. That's what they did to him.
Just in case
So
anyone was wondering why Brie and I get along so well, that sound also popped into my head at
that's
the exact moment like before you said it. So,
that's all I heard as soon as we were talking about that. I was like, that's exactly what happened.
yeah.
That audio needs to happen. That's what it is.
That's
Oh,
TikTok for us to make.
yeah,
Um,
quite literally.
okay. I think it's also really nice because so much of the draft felt very emotional because if we're taking it to that part, Matthew Schaefer gets drafted first overall.
Hmm.
He's a phenomenal hockey player. I am,
He also has so much personality, that kid.
yeah, he's
Like,
funny.
most of the time, I feel like when we see a first overall draft pick, they're like, okay, like they have some. Every time they had like they were posting those draft things or the videos they were doing with the prospects, he was like the best kid in the entire video. And I'm like, okay, we're good. We're fine.
Yeah.
He's got a personality. He's happy and fun. We love it. So,
So, which is shocking because when he was 16 years old, his mom died of cancer.
no, that was not. Oh, that's right. Oh my God. I can't. That's right. I'm thinking 16. And I'm like, he was not 16. He was
He
16.
was 16. Also, I want to say his
Billet.
billet mom died a
Two
month
months
later.
before that.
Okay,
Yeah. It was his billet mom passed away first, and then his mom passed 2 months later than that in 2024. So it wasn't, yeah, he's
which
been through it.
it was, I like get emotional watching people like accomplish their dreams. Like,
Yes.
I cry at the end of every F1 race. I like,
Me. Why is this so real?
I
Like people
cry when
doing
people
things,
win
I'm
the
like,
cup.
ah!
The first Walter Cup getting handed out, I literally I have a video of me on Snapchat where I was like could not control myself. I was sobbing.
Oh my God, that's so real.
Like I am an emotional person when I watch sports. I
I'm the
love
same way.
being a fan. And so seeing him get drafted, also like being at UBS and seeing just how much the Islanders fan base was like ready to support this kid.
I also think we just said this about McQueen too, but I literally the amount of people that like even if you aren't an Islanders fan or partially an Islanders fan, whatever, if you don't have any like stake in that franchise or the team, like I think he is now one of those people and not a specific player that people are going to like want the best for no matter what. Like you can hate the Islanders,
That's
but you don't like that
I
doesn't
saw
matter. It's like you want him to do well.
I saw so many Rangers fans, like during the draft, like right after he got drafted in like the last few days that are like, I hate the Islanders. I will never wish anything negative on Matthew Schaefer.
But Matthew Schaefer deserves everything good in the world, so he
Yes.
can have it all.
Um,
What didn't he literally say? I think I saw a quote or an interview afterwards where he was like, "Yeah, I can't like about the Rangers," and he's like, "Yeah, I already can't wait to play them." And then they drafted his teammate. The Rangers drafted his teammate with their pick. So I was like, "Oh, great.
I'm so excited for that.
We just are starting things all over the place again. It's
So,
fine."
so Schaefer like held it together when he got like, I think like when he stood up, like he
Up
definitely
to
got
the
like
jersey, yeah.
emotional, but he was like pretty good. Like even like his dad was like sobbing and he held it together pretty well. He got up to the stage and I think it hit him like a little bit more. And then the Islanders had put the
Yeah.
Hockey Fights Cancer ribbon on his jersey and sewed his mom's initials into the back collar.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously he did not know that was going to happen. And
Yeah.
he like once it registered, he like broke down a little bit. And
Like
I didn't
seeing
see
him
the ribbon
kiss
at
the
first.
ribbon, I was like my heart like I don't want to say stopped, but I was like, "Oh no, now I'm crying again." I
I
can't like
was
not cry.
I was typing and so I didn't see what he was kissing. And then when he put the jersey back down, I lost it.
Yeah.
Um, because like I
And
just
then
lost
like when
someone
he's
very
taking the
important to
picture with
me.
Gary Bettman, he's crying and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God." I was like, I
Which and I have to give him all of the props in the world because so many men.
yeah, I was going to say I love that we got to see that
Yeah.
on a very that not in that sounds wrong. I
I
not in
love
the
that
sense
he
that it
wasn't
happened.
scared to show his emotion about
Yes,
it.
but
He
in the
didn't feel
sport
like
of
he had to hold
hockey,
back. Yeah.
it's so important. Like it is speaks volumes the fact that we almost never see that happen, and the fact that it was on such a big stage and it was like well received because of his story is so like amazing is not the right word, but
No,
it felt very nice to just be like,
yeah.
okay, the hockey world, like it's you're around that they're around him, but yeah, and that's I had the same thought where I was like, oh my God.
I just the only reason I was
I
not hysterical crying was because I was in public.
me at work, every
Um,
time something happens, I'm like, I can't. I'm just like, well, I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. My eyes are red. I'm crying my eyes out. It's fine.
well,
It was
also
so sweet
because
though. Like, I'm really glad that the Islanders did that, and like the fact that I there were levels, and we'll probably speak to this, that it became not cool further on later in the night to go back to this topic with him. But like that initial moment, and like probably one of the biggest moments of his life and career and whatever, it was such a great thing for the Isles to do, and like that, I just I get
it's
chills
a
like thinking about it. I'm like, oh my god,
it was a really like as someone who grew up an Islanders fan and like still has a lot of love in my heart for that team, like it was a really nice thing to see because
yeah,
I think that the Islanders and especially like there's a lot of discourse around like their fans and whatever and opinions that I hold as well. Um, but seeing this organization like do something super considerate and it was
yeah. I
really
don't even have
sweet.
words. I mean, again, I'm getting chills like thinking about it, but yeah,
So then he has to go talk to Emperor Palpatine in
literally.
the room.
How is any? If you guys listen to this, please tell me. I hope you're listening to this. I don't know why I said it that way. Um, the draft room, the NHL was calling it. It was giving like reality TV show before you get kicked off the islands. Like, tell me that's not what it was. And I really felt the worst one of the night. There were really bad ones that happened, like when it technol tech.
Technological
Yes,
difficulties.
that's the word. I can't say it right now. My brain's not working. The one I really, 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 really felt like awkward and bad for, when James Higgins gets selected and he goes in and like it's like this Zoom call would have been, but like of course if you're just seeing Mackenzie and you're not seeing me, and so like they can see themselves, and James Higgins walks up to the mic and the girl, like the woman introducing and like interviewing them, says hi or whatever, and she waits for like the Boston front office to say anything, and it's dead silent because they have no idea, like the connection dropped or something. And James Higgins just goes, "Thanks for picking me," and I was like, "No!" I was like, "Oh, I feel so bad because he's so excited, obviously, but like the way it didn't pan out with the technology, I was like, oh my god, no!" I was like,
Yeah. Well, okay, with the James Higgins of it all, the other reason I wasn't hysterical over Matthew Schaefer is because it was so the Islanders had traded Noah Dobson for a 16 and 17 from Montreal and then also
true.
Heineman who just keeps getting moved.
Yeah, literally. I
Um
think we counted at work. He's every deal he's been involved in has been like a major, like a big player or something exciting has happened. And I'm like, that's like, dude, that's the only thing that is connected to you now. Like, but
but so like the Islanders were trying to trade up number 4.
we knew about the Dobson trade at about 2:30 p.m. It was not said by anybody in the NHL officially wise until when was that pick made? Probably like almost 10 p.m.
But
If
the
not later.
most ridiculous thing about it is that they didn't announce it at all and they put up on the trade board
But they had it like it was
Islanders
normal. Yeah.
at 16, 17, and we were like, but it hasn't been confirmed yet.
Yeah. It was
So that
unnecessary
was
in
really
my
fun.
eyes. So I was like, why can't we just say it happened? We all know it happened.
Well, because at first I was like, maybe
Like,
they're going to back out if they can't convert the 16 and 17 into a higher pick. And like that didn't happen
yeah.
either. So I have no idea. Also, poor Noah Dobson, who's getting married when you're listening to
Someone
this.
said it was like, yeah, I was saying
He's
Monday,
getting
right?
married Monday. So like, oh my God. Which like also like I have opinions on whatever. Again, whatever. It's fine. So the
It's
Islanders were
okay.
trying to trade up to 4, 5, 6, and 7 basically and couldn't get it done because they wanted Higgins. And like part of me kind of wanted, I think I said this last week where I was like, I wouldn't mind if Higgins goes first overall.
Yeah.
Okay. And like I would have been mad if we had lost out on Schaefer, but it like I don't know, hometown kid who actually wants to play for the team, yada yada, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it goes to Nashville and it says the pick is in. And I was like, okay, we're
I'm so
safe.
surprised Nashville, like, I don't know what they were thinking, but I was like, oh, this is done.
I I like the Brady Martin
Me
selection
too.
for them. It's not bad, but
It
with
just was like knowing that he was still there, I was like, guys.
Well, so Hagen's was supposed to go 3. And then what killed me is seeing the pan over to him
I
every
know.
time afterwards.
Also,
And I'm like, oh my God, this poor kid who thinks,
please
like, imagine you, yeah,
go
go.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Like, if you think you're going third overall in the draft and then you don't get selected, and then you don't get selected, and then you don't get
Yeah.
selected. And it's like, how bad do you have to feel about yourself in that moment?
So what I'm gonna say is gonna go off that because I was looking it up at work the other night too when we said that, and everybody makes a big deal about players dropping whatever about like, oh, you were supposed to go in the top 3 or top 5, whatever, and you get drafted 7th. Such good players have been drafted at 7th overall. Like that, it's not even like you're still a top 10, and I feel like people automatically
Yeah.
are just like, oh, if you were supposed. Also, every team has different needs and they have only certain spots in their lineup that they have to fill and whatever. So
Which is
I
why the
know
Islanders couldn't take
yes.
Hagen's first overall, even if they like
Yeah.
wanted the hometown. Like they needed
There
Schaefer's
was
skill
other
and ability.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think I'm so happy for the Bruins fans because it's been it's been real rough for them. So I'm so glad I know were mad you didn't get a higher than 7th, but look what happened when you got the 7th pick. So ended
Well,
up working
so
out.
when he like okay, it says pick is in for Nashville, and I was like, okay, if
This is
Hagen's has
it.
to go to Nashville, it's okay because at least he has another Long Islander with him.
True.
I'm like, him and Ryan will be fine. It'll be okay. Like
Nashville said, psych.
I'm literally like sitting there. I'm like, okay, it's fine. We have the little Long Island babies together. It will be okay. And like they both went to a Massachusetts college. Like it'll be okay. No. And then pick 6, no. Pick 7, and you get Happy Gilmore to
Yeah, Adam
announce it.
Sandler.
But I was really annoyed though because the way that Adam Sandler was like from Boston College, and for a second, I heard the B come out of his mouth, and I went, oh my God, maybe it's not Hagen's.
Oh, like you thought they were gonna say the name, like
I thought
the
that I don't
name
know
and then
why.
school or whatever.
No, I thought they were gonna say Hopog for some reason.
No, it's always a team.
I know. I
But it would make sense where
understand.
you're just like, yeah,
But
wait,
also
how
because
about
I
it?
think if the Islanders had drafted him, they would have said from
Of course they
Hopog,
would.
New York,
Of course they would
James
though.
Hagens. Um, and so when he said Boston, my brain was like, oh, maybe it's not Hagens. And then it took zero point 0.5 seconds for my brain to be like, oh, no.
Never mind.
And then, oh my God, UBS Arena was so mad. And like,
I know.
I also don't know how the Islanders thought that they could convert a 16 and 17 into like a 4, 5, 6, or 7 without giving up
No.
another piece, which I think most of those teams also wanted Isaiah George, I want to say, which I would not give up if I was the Islanders.
Yeah.
So I am happy that they didn't do that for Hagens, and like they can always get Hagens another way. Also, he could say that he's happy and then pull an Adam Fox, a Cutter Gauthier, a
True.
Rucker McGroarty. He could like
Say hey, sorry.
if he really wants to be on the island, he'll be on the island. And if he doesn't and he wants to go play in Boston, which he seems happy with, and I think that's also a good place for him to land. Like he has a support system there.
He's
Like it's
also
a good
not
place. Da, da, da.
going
Like
very far. Yeah, like when you're
yeah.
already at BC, it's kind of just you're in the same spot already. But yeah, we have a lot of Bruins fans at work, and I was like, I know everybody's gonna be real happy about this one. Like, I'm really happy for you. I'm glad.
I am
Wish that
so
was me.
happy for the Bruins. I did text my cousin and I was like, congratulations.
I know. They're like, well, it could have been me. But like, if it had to be anyone, though, I'm glad it's the Bruins.
Yes.
And
I
especially
like
with him, like he's in Boston. He already has connections there. He's already like well loved there. I think it's ends up working out very well. But
I
I don't
that was
know.
my second pick for him. If he had to
So
be
yeah,
somewhere,
there you
it was
go.
Boston. That's fine with me.
Yeah,
So,
that works. He's also like the only one that on that like line or like the ones that have been drafted to like stay that close.
yeah.
Because like Will Smith's in San Jose and Gabe Rose. Well, I guess New York isn't really that far away in reality, but close is.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I will say,
yes.
I do think the Islanders won the first round, point blank, period.
They, I know, I guess there's probably, I don't know, actually, I guess you'd know better. I don't know if there's like mixed reactions about giving Dobson up. I also think it's insane he got 9.5, but Have fun, Montreal.
I
Love that.
think he wanted, ooh, I think he
11.
wanted,
Wasn't it
well,
11?
I think it was 11. I think that what the number was that he was saying no to was
10? No.
10-5.
That makes even less sense.
I don't know. I think it was
But
11, and then I think 10-5 was thrown out, and then I want to say 9-5 is what was offered on the island,
okay.
and he
And he
said
said
no.
okay. But they really like with those two picks for Montreal, although I don't know if Montreal would I guess they could have used them if they kept them, but the Islanders like every time they go up, I was like they're just crushing it. They're smashing it. Something happening.
No, it
Oh.
was I'm sitting and I'm watching, and also, oh my God, if you were sitting in front of me at the draft and you're
Oh,
listening to this now and you had the
audacity.
fucking nerve.
Oh, same thing.
Like, no, I was pissed off. So Meredith Gaudreau comes up to announce Columbus's
Columbus,
pick,
yes.
and this shit in front of me goes, no one cares. Get over it. It's been a year. Your husband died. Get off the stage.
Did they not? Hold
The
on. First off, we're not even gonna talk about what that and what them being said part. Did they just think she just like showed up? Like, you know what I mean?
like,
I
I
think
get that you're not a
if I
Columbus
heard that
fan, but
though, I would have been like, I don't even know.
I will say at some point they said something else, and I
That
don't
was
remember what it was. And I out loud went, just say you don't know puck and shut the fuck up.
that'd be a good shirt.
And then yeah, I
Or
don't
hat.
know. I don't know if they heard me. I don't know if they thought that I was talking
But you
because
still
I was
said it.
also I will say I was like voice texting like you and someone else, and also like on threads like doing a voice memo thing and like writing an article with a voice memo thing. And so like I was talking to myself a lot. So I don't know if they thought that I was talking to them or
You're
not.
yeah. But
But
you still said it. So if they heard it, they heard it.
it was something about a pick.
Of course.
And I was like, "Are you stupid?" Which I'm having that a
Probably.
lot recently.
I mean, that's wild.
But I wanted to look at him and be like, "How much of an asshole do you have to be?"
Yeah, for real. And like also to say that like out loud, not as anybody you're thinking it, but like to say it out loud is a choice. Very
Mm,
much a choice.
I'm so mad. Um, oh, I think it was because so Victor Eklund, I think we all thought was going to go a lot earlier.
Yeah.
And the Islanders got him at 16, and they got HSN at 17, which great picks for the direction that they seem to be heading in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he said something about Eklund, about William
I
Eklund.
can't. I'm surprised he even knows who that is.
Yeah. Um, and
Like what team does he play for?
I literally sometimes I'm like, men are so stupid. Why do you talk?
I can't.
Like, I want you to name five players actually, because
For
I don't
real.
think you know five players.
No, at all.
Um, so getting Eklund and Aitchison at 16 and 17, I feel like were absolute steals.
Steals, yeah.
And
Literally.
also, when you look at the rest of the draft class for the Islanders, they seem to be going in a very, I want to say, I want to say akin to the Panthers. Um, very
That's a good way to go.
aggressive, very much of like your defenseman will eliminate a forecheck.
Yes.
Because if I have to find the clip, go watch Aitchison's highlights.
It's crazy.
That kid is insane.
Who
Like
was
he,
it? There was someone they took on the second day. I don't remember what round it was because all of the rounds blended in my head because I was sitting
yeah.
there for 5 hours. Um, but I don't know who it was, and that's gonna annoy me. I don't know off the top of my head. But anyway, we were sitting, and I was sitting with like a different. I was the only research person in Jersey. Everybody else is on site. So
Hmm.
I'm like with everybody else who like doesn't really know anything about the draft. And there was an Islanders fan sitting with me who like was working. I don't remember the kid's name, but they were like showing a highlight reel of what he was doing, and
So
and
here
he
are
was
your options: Prokhorov, Romano.
Romano! It
It was
was him. It
Romano.
was him.
Okay.
Because we
I
were like,
thought
oh my
it
God,
was,
yes.
but
Anyway, so the highlight comes up on our air that we're like literally sitting, and the kid that works in graphics next to me is like, man, he really looks like Barzell. Like that's so like, and I was like, that's the point. I was like, that's what they. I was like, that's the point. But
yeah.
it very much felt like for a first draft class for Matthew Darsh, like what a slay. Like you could not have done it any better for your
Like,
first one.
yes, it's disappointing not to get Hagens, but to get Schaefer,
The three in the first round
it's just,
alone
oh my
is
God.
just
I'm sitting there watching the draft and going, oh my God. Oh my God. I'm like, it's gonna take
yeah,
a few years to kick
of
in.
course. But once it does,
But also when you look at like the rest of the Islanders like prospect pool right now, like Cole
it's not very
Iserman,
good.
Isaiah George,
That yeah, who it like
I
they
was like,
definitely had to
oh my
replenish
God, this is
it.
actually good for once.
Yeah, literally. That's how
Ugh.
we also had the same conversation about when the Sharks took Misa, and I was
Mhm.
like, guys, the Sharks when they get a goaltender because they need one, they're about to be scary. They're about to be a little terrifying. Give them like a year or two when they establish everything else. But
They all
like,
the Sharks also need to be, and they have they have, how do I word this?
I don't know what you're gonna say.
They need to be more aggressive and or
Yes.
get some more size on their roster. Also, there was not a defenseman under 6 foot drafted this
Yeah.
year. What?
There were only,
Why
I
are they
think
all mutants?
at
Also,
work,
why are the Rangers just drafting 6'6" people?
we, I
Anyways,
think only like 26 of the 200 something picks were under 6 feet.
like
Like 26 of them. Because there's this one kid
so tall.
who on our list at work, he was ranked in the top 50 and he kept dropping. And I was like, why is this kid like not getting picked or whatever? And someone next to me was like, why is nobody taking him? He's supposed to be really good. And I look at work, we have like a NHL comparison for like every player and who they're supposed to be like, whatever. And I look at this kid's page and he's listed at 5'8" and his NHL comparison is Cole Caulfield. I go, he's not getting take. He's small. That's why he's still sitting there. And then like there was somebody else who was like 5'10", and I was like, literally, if you're 5'11", or like, it's crazy that
Which
that's
is
the.
so crazy
It doesn't mean
because
anything because like obviously we've seen
Jack,
amazing players.
Cole,
Yeah,
Johnny.
exactly. But I was like, I don't know if their scouts are just like, yeah, I'm gonna go over like the 6'7" guy instead. And I'm like, you can't all have gigantic people on the ice. You need some, you
But that's where I
like
do think that having some smaller players who are okay, if you have a smaller player who is phenomenal on his
yeah,
edges and can skate like McDavid,
true.
having a smaller player can come in handy.
Yes. And also
Like
you'd have those bigger players as like
to then
surrounding
defend.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like not just leaving them out there to like dry, hang out.
I
But
just yeah, I I'm literally like watching the replay of one of the Aitchison hits in my head right now. It like
it's so good.
I don't
Also,
remember who it
I'm
was. They described the Islanders draft class as violent, and I was like, you know what? I'll take it. Because if the Panthers are winning with
I was
that
gonna
kind of
say
mentality, I understand why Darsh would be looking at
if
that kind of
that's
draft class.
if that's gonna set the precedent going forward,
Yep.
then like you kind of have to draft that way now in hopes that's how it is still when you get there. But yeah,
And I don't think that he sacrificed other
no.
skill sets to draft a very aggressive class. I think that he has a very technically strong draft class who
Hmm.
is also more aggressive
I was gonna say they
leaning.
have like the it's like a two-edged sword or whatever the phrase is. Like you get the best of both worlds where they're
Yeah.
also very, very good hockey players, but they have that aggressive streak in them, which you
Yeah.
need both. You need both. So yeah,
Like I'm
they
excited
won.
for the future
They
of the
won.
Islanders for the first time in
I know.
forever.
It's crazy. There was someone at work brought up there because next year, not that we're already talking about this, but if you aren't already aware, Gavin McKenna is basically your first overall pick for next year. And someone at work was
Watch
like,
him drop.
well, no, somebody at work was like, well, what if the Islanders win the lottery again and get him? I was like, you would have like number one, that's so slim. It could happen, I
But
guess.
they
We
still
also have to
have a
be bad
lot.
enough
No, but they still have
to
a
do that.
lot of issues to work out. So like again, I'm talking
Yes.
about this draft class. Cole Iserman is going back to college.
Yes.
Um, I like Schaefer. I don't know that he's ready yet, and I say that I don't know if
He
he's
also only played 17 games last season, so like
I don't know that he's big enough yet either. I know that he's put
no,
on
just give him
some
a little
muscle, but
time.
he might do better with a year off. Um,
Yeah.
their other two first round picks are probably not coming in for a year or two. Um, and like the rest of their picks, you're looking at 2, 3 years maybe, and probably like an
Yeah.
AHL stint for a little while. Um, unless they're like all doing college or whatever, and I'd have to look at, I don't remember exactly every single person. In 5 years, that Islanders team locked, loaded, absolutely terrifying.
Hmm.
Next year,
They might be in the same spot as they are right now. Maybe.
and also they didn't even do that
Bad.
poorly
No.
this season.
It
They just
wasn't,
got
was it the year
really lucky.
before? Yeah, which will help. So, I don't know. I love it for them though. I also not that I can't this is I went through this when not went through it. Like I act like I was the one being like pointed out by it. But the when the Devils got Nico and then Jack 2 years later, and like suddenly they were like a decent team. I don't
Hmm.
want to say decent because now they're better, but they were decent. And I just remember I feel like when that happens where that rise like as a rain when the Devils are on a good spot, the Islanders are going there. They aren't probably there now, but I'm like, you have these two that are just going to be like, keep going up, and the Rangers are going in the opposite direction. They are not.
I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Did the Rangers draft someone with the last name like Passmore?
This I know he was drafted, but I don't know if he was from the Rangers or went to the Rangers.
I don't know if he was actually drafted by the Rangers or if someone edited it.
No, he was.
Okay. Someone goes, we don't need him to pass more, we need him to shoot more. I thought that
They
was really
also got
funny.
the Lindgren, who's not at all related,
Yes,
which I think is funny.
that I saw. Um,
But it's
I just
that's the feeling I have though, where I'm like, oh, these two other teams are doing, they're gonna be so great, and they're so great. And I'm like, and then
and I think it's hard because the Rangers do have a decent prospect pool. Um,
yeah.
like I'm looking at their development camp roster
Although
and it's not bad.
no,
I'm really excited for Fortescue whenever he comes up.
yeah,
Um, but like I'm looking at it and I'm worried because I feel like the Rangers have this is what I said about the Sirens their first season. So many players who individually are very technically skilled.
but together they don't gel.
And yeah, like and when you put them in like drills, like they're great.
Yeah,
They can pass, they can
game.
shoot, they can dangle, like
Yeah,
and then you put them all together and you can't find lines that like work well.
yeah,
And then you have one line that excels and then every other line falls
doesn't
apart
work. Yeah,
and then you try to shake it up and then the whole thing falls apart. And I feel like that's where I feel like the Rangers are heading in a way of like you have a lot of people who are good at hockey.
they kind of did that last year, where like every one you get like good chemistry on one line for like 2 weeks, and then that line would fall apart, and the other three lines are great, and then the fourth line's the only line playing hockey for a while, and then it was
I do have
chaotic.
to wonder what would have happened if they had left the 16, 10, 13 line
Yeah,
in for as enough time. Anyways,
which they didn't
no,
because they never. You can't
it's
have nice
also
things.
frustrating to look at teams who are getting the memo like the Islanders where they're bulking up, they're
You get to
getting more
change
aggressive,
things.
they're
Yeah,
changing things. Then you look at where the Rangers are still drafting and it's not necessarily bad,
just the same
but it's when you
over and
look
over.
at not to take the approach like the regular season doesn't matter because I truly believe that it
It
does.
does.
Um, but when like if your ultimate goal is to win the Stanley Cup and you look at all of these other teams that are
Hmm.
in contention year after year, the Rangers are not aggressive enough, and having a Matt Rempe who isn't even
What?
aggressive,
He is just one Matt Rempe.
but like Rempe's not even um
Oh, he just
he's not
fights.
like an eliminator. He's not
No,
a shutdown defenseman. He's
no,
just, and I
he's just
don't
there.
mean this, but he's like a bully, quote unquote.
In his, yeah, in the role he plays, yeah.
Like he's not even really an
But
enforcer. I don't
no,
know. I just it they need someone like Ryan Lindgren,
yeah.
and that is why I'm still mad that they traded him. So
Maybe they'll trade him back. Let's pick him up free agency 'cause I don't think Colorado's signing him. So just be like, hey guys, you want to come back? Don't
no.
worry. Yeah, I don't know. I had that same thought though. I was like, oh my God, it's all over again. Like when the draft picks were coming in and like the whole thing where it's like one team's going in a very obvious other direction and the other one isn't. And it's just, it's fine. It's okay.
Also, like the Devils prospect pool is also really good.
Crazy. Okay, but this is another thing that like I said this before too, that the Rangers are just also absolutely horrible at developing
Hmm.
their players. And then you look at the roster, and that's like 95% of the reason why you don't have any young players in your top two lines because you don't develop them well. And then you wonder why, and it is your own problem. And then you look at every other team, and they seem to have it figured out. So I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think every other team has it figured out. I think that
No,
it's
but
just hard being a fan of a team that you feel like could do so
mostly,
much better.
yeah. I don't run it. I love. Imagine if we did. Be like, hey
That's
guys.
this feels like not it's not at all the same. But the people who do watch the America Sweethearts DCC thing, um their coaches are like so particular.
Really? Well, of course. I guess they have to be.
Well, like they're dance coaches. Anyone who
Yeah.
danced competitively knows how dance teachers are. Um Someone goes, they should just give Kelly and Judy the Dallas Cowboys, like give them the football team and make them run it. It would, they might actually win
They can do
something.
it. Yeah, there you
And I
go.
was like, that's how I feel sometimes about like other sports where I'm like, what if we let someone else run the team for a week because I
You
feel
could
like they
do
might
it.
do better.
Yeah,
Like
I
not
agree.
necessarily me, not you, and not like anyone else in hockey
No,
media, but sometimes I'm
somebody. Somebody, anybody. Yeah, but
like let the goalie coach run the team for a week because like
video coach.
but like they have such different perspectives on the
Yeah,
game. I am happy that a goalie went in the first round.
yeah. Two, I think, went in the first round. Maybe. Am I just already remembering wrong?
I know at least I know one did. I don't remember. Can I The draft was so terrible.
Yeah, it was not good. I'm gonna have like
Like
trauma from it.
why did it literally take 5 hours?
I someone was joking, and I genuinely think this is probably what it was. Where so okay, for anybody, I saw a lot of this on Twitter, and I feel like we should at least say what has happened. So every year up until this year, they had what they would. It was a draft. Every team sent their entire front office. You had a table for every team. You were in the same spot in the arena, theater, wherever they were hosting it,
Yeah.
whatever. You were all there. Apparently, it came up. I don't know when, but Bettman had asked, like, if they were considering a decentralized draft, but other sports do. Okay, it does happen. Apparently, the teams voted, or the GMs voted 26-6 in favor of decentralizing it, which just means they stay home. They're like in their office
Well,
at the
so
arena,
like
whatever.
every team had like a war room, so like the Islanders set up like
Yeah,
in their
so like,
dressing
they were
room.
just they were not physically in Los Angeles. Well, the Kings people were, but they weren't there. But they were in like their actual front office where the team is based.
Yeah.
So, and it's a known fact that Bettman does not like the decentralized draft, but like because the teams spoke on it, they were like, "We'll give it a try, whatever." So all that to be said, that's why this happened because the GMs asked for it.
This is the only thing you can't blame Gary Bettman for.
Yes. Um, but my somebody had pointed out, and we even said it at work. I was like, "What if Bettman was like, I'm gonna make this as horrible and as awkward and terrible as I possibly can, so all of you people complain, and we go back to a regular draft next year." Also, there
It's
were
possible.
multiple GMs. I saw quotes from like during the draft where everybody was complaining like no trades were happening like during the draft, and they were like, yeah, well, there's nobody. You can't like walk over to somebody and like talk to them. You're not. You have to like call them, and it's not
Which is
as
so
fluid.
funny because before the draft, all I saw was this is going to be like the NFL draft. So many trades,
Yeah,
so much action, da, da, da,
it
and
was
like
not.
nothing.
It
Also,
was
because
not like that
I
at all.
can't help but think if we were in person and we did have a centralized draft, would the Islanders have been able to get Higgins?
It was two goalies in the first round.
Oh, good.
I do
Okay.
remember it. It was Columbus, and the Sharks took
I
Joshua
knew,
Ravensbergen at
yeah,
30.
I knew
They have
about
some cool names this year.
the Sharks because I
Yeah,
that
but
one. Yeah.
yeah, I don't. It was not. It was not very well done. I was I was waiting so
I
patiently to
just
go home, and I could
why
not. It just took
why did
forever.
every
Also, I hated the draft house thing. It was so awkward. Like those, I just didn't like it.
also like
I,
all of the clip like if you're gonna have part of the thing be that like celebrities are gonna be announcing it, have the
yeah,
celebrities, I don't know,
physically be
be
there.
there.
Yeah.
Like that was really disappointing. And it's also I feel like it's disrespect. I know that other leagues do this, but if you're gonna have a decentralized draft, at least send an actual representative from your team,
Mhm.
whether it's a coach, an assistant GM, if the Islanders wanted to send like Matt
Somebody.
Martin or their captain or someone to
Yeah.
congratulate and
Well,
shake the hand of the player
yeah.
instead of them literally looking up at this big screen that's not
Mhm.
working and going,
I
"Thank
also
you."
felt because like I so last year when I was at the Sphere and like which is insane to go from
It
that to this.
seemed so cool last year.
But my point, like I thought about it when like when Celebrini got drafted and like was it Thornton?
Yeah.
I think yeah, like you had literal Sharks alumni and like the G like they had like his draft picture will forever be like people that are very well known or like the face of San Jose Sharks, and all these kids are now just like me and Gary Bettman and like said celebrity who like it
Or
just feels if or no, I
not to
just don't like
drag
it.
the Canucks, but like
Oh yeah, a player that absolutely nobody would have thought. You, I
oh,
don't get it.
that was also
I
something
don't
that
get
that guy
it.
in front of me said. He was like, "No one knows who this man is." And I was like,
I mean, to be fair, the Canucks could have sent like
"Oh,
20
so
other
many more
players
people."
because they had a list to send and they sent
But
none of
like
them.
at that point, I was already so mad at this dude,
I
and I was
I
like,
thought it was gonna be Michael Bublé again, and they
"Would have been
missed. They
funny."
didn't even get him to do it. I was like, that man would
He
have
would have.
absolutely would have done that. Like, why did you not get him? And it was not. So I was already
It's
disappointed when it wasn't Michael Bublé, and then I was like, okay, okay.
it is a very I don't know, it just seems so upsetting.
I'm glad. I'm gonna say I'm glad they tried it, and I'm glad they tried it to know that we should never do it again. And I hope that's the case because
Well,
it was not good.
I want to say Iserman was like, "Yeah, I liked it."
Yeah, someone said that he's just introverted. He wants to stay home,
And I'm
not
like,
talk to your friends.
I'm so happy for you. As a fan, that w like okay, if
It
it's
was so
decentralized, it's supposed to be quicker. It's supposed to be
yes.
flashier and like whatever. And also, even if it was okay, if you're gonna decentralize it the way that you did in COVID, where like you can
Yeah.
get like a Jack Hughes reaction to
Like
Luke getting drafted to
those
the Devils.
literally we were talking about it and I was like both of them like because there's technically two because 2020 and 21 were both COVID drafts, but I was like both of those were better well done than this
Yeah.
one 5 or 4 years later, and like you actually have the players there in real life. Like it was not. It was I under like I get what they were trying to do like on a production side, but like as a fan, there was no reason to watch it for that long. Like you were probably watching, or like you were just waiting for your team to make a pick and being like, okay, see ya, or waiting for the top five, whatever it was. But
Also,
it was it took so long.
I don't know if this is controversial or not.
Say it. I don't know either, but I want to hear what you want to say.
I do think that part of the reason it takes so long sometimes for the and like I like last few, you'll notice every few drafts, like say like number 5, and then like number like 7, or
Hmm.
then you have like 15. Take a little bit longer. And it's like the pick is in, why aren't we calling it?
Yeah,
And it's because they're making the jerseys, I think, with like the
they're
names on
pressing
them.
them. Yeah,
And I just
I know some. I think some of them on Friday were like at some point they just stopped doing them.
that's I think that we should only
Like
do it for the
some,
first
yeah,
overall
somebody
because it
went up.
takes too long.
Yeah, or like
Get
maybe
it?
top three because like if like if that's those are usually like a lock.
Yeah,
But
but
just
I
give them like
would,
the number jersey that says 25 of the year and say see ya
and then put their name on it after
later.
they get off of stage.
Because then you can take pictures with the name on it after. You don't need it for them on stage right then.
No, and I think it's so it's
It delays the
frustrating.
process. Yeah, it delays, and then like everybody's like, why are they like the times run out? Why is nothing happening? And like that's why,
I
but you can't.
also
Like, nobody knows.
I will say I saw someone who was like, what do they just have a heat press on site? And I was like,
Yes,
yeah.
they literally. That's how
Did
they
you
put them
think
on a
that they
jersey anyway.
did?
They just bring it there.
Which,
Uh,
like, again, I acknowledge that not everyone is like in on the hockey
yeah, not
world, but I was
insane like
like,
us.
no, that like that makes sense, I fear.
Yeah.
It just it was a very poorly it was hard to watch.
Yes. Like also for the sense of the fact that we're always like, well, I say we as like hockey people or people that work in hockey or fans, whatever.
Mhm.
We're always like, we need to grow the game. We need to do this. This is not the. I don't care who you are, but as like somebody who genuinely watches hockey, if I didn't watch hockey, I would not be watching that. Like it was the complete opposite of how you get people interested in your sport. It doesn't. It did the
No, and
opposite
then that's why
effect.
the conspiracy theories, they don't actually want to grow the sport, come out.
Well, yes, but
So I
if
don't.
it was I'm gonna say it was a time. It was my third one working at work. Although last year I did pre-show, so I really didn't actually do the draft part. But it was interesting. That's
Look
all
at
I
her
gotta
being
say.
all cool.
I don't really do anything. I just be like, here's these people, these little
Brianna, you
kids that you
worked
talk
the
about.
NHL draft. That
No,
is
no, no. I
cool.
know, but I'm not like there. I'm just
It's
like,
cool.
it is cool. It's long. It is very long. I'm so glad. Like I'm glad 2 days are over because I'm ready to just be like, okay. Then it's like now we're all in free agency mode, so I'm like, oh, there's no still not slowing down. It's fine. It's okay. But yeah, if you didn't watch it,
Um,
love that for you because
yeah.
you didn't miss much, unfortunately, minus like the highlights that we just gave you, which happened in the first 20 minutes.
And you can
After
see them
that,
on TikTok. Like,
literally, go look them up on YouTube. The 4.5 hours was genuinely insane,
I
and not in a
watched
good way.
from I watched from the beginning and then I stopped watching after pick 17 because then I drove home from
Yeah.
UBS. And then by the time I got home, I looked at how many, like I looked at what number we were on and went, no.
Also, can we?
Um,
I also thought it was so cheesy that they had this little button that was bright red, and whenever there was a trade, and I think the first one was with the no, it wasn't the Pens. Although Alex Latang,
no, I
I
think
know
it
you
was
ever.
because
It
they
might have
had
been.
him, they're like, do you want to, I think
He
Get
pressed.
Bettman looked at Alex and
Yeah.
went, do you want to show everyone what this button does? Which was cute, but
It was literally a trade alert button, and it literally you pressed it, and it was like the King's goal horn went off, and it was like the most insane thing ever, and it was so unnecessary. But they did that like even throughout day two, and there's like nobody actually physically in the theater at some point. Like they kept doing it, and I was like, guys,
the fact that that
we
kid
don't
who
we
got
don't need to do
drafted
this.
from the Edmonton Oilers, like the second to last
But the
pick, was
hoodie,
there was
yeah,
so funny.
somebody said, and I like it makes me sad thinking about it because I don't know who it was, and I wasn't there, but somebody that we had there said that there was like one family left in the audience, and the kid was in a suit and everything, and he didn't, and he wasn't one of the last like picks, and I was like, don't tell me that, because I'm gonna get really upset, I'm gonna cry, that's so sad. I was so we were surprised that the
I
kid who the Oilers picked was there, and then everybody was like, "Oh my god, he's just in a hoodie." And I was like, "'Cause he's just like chilling. Like you probably didn't even think he was gonna get picked." And then I thought that was the kids they were talking about. And I was like, oh, I'm really glad that he got picked. And then somebody at work was like, no, they're still like, that wasn't the family. That wasn't
I'm
the
gonna
kid. I was like,
cry.
stop. I was like, don't tell me that. So I don't even know if that was like, I don't know if we actually knew that was a kid, but there was a family there that was waited all the way to the end. And I was like, no.
That
I
has
also
gotta
remember,
be the
I
worst.
know, was it last year? I think either last year or the year before. Again, I only remember this because I was like at work, but there was a kid they drafted, like he was like genuinely the literal last pick, and he was still there, and he was so excited, and he got to go up on stage and everything, and I was like, that's why, like, I'm like glad he waited. I can't remember what year it was, but yeah, I was like, please don't tell me that's true. I hope it's just some random person with like their friend.
I also don't understand why you would pay for tickets to the draft and then leave. Like,
Yes,
especially on day two, because it didn't take nearly as long as day one did. Um,
it was like almost the same amount of time, but
I
like
mean, like in
six
between.
rounds. Yeah, like you
Yeah.
got 6 rounds in 5 hours opposed to 1 hour and 4.5.
I'm like,
But
I
yeah,
would
I don't know.
stay the whole time if I paid money to
Yeah.
go to the draft. I would stay and I would cheer for every single we should
I
go to the
know.
draft and bring like little pom poms, be like,
I
woo,
was gonna say I'll bring
for
like little
every
like party.
person.
I'll throw confetti. I'll be all in on this. I'll get confetti
I
poppers for every single 200 whatever you like.
I
I don't
just
even
think
care.
everyone should be celebrated and
I
it makes
know.
like these kids have worked their entire lives
Yeah.
to get to this
To just
point.
like literally that point. Doesn't even matter what happens after that. Like just to get your name called by an NHL team. And I know we always put the stock on the first round because those are the ones that I know it's not a guarantee because there's been some draft classes where there aren't players that make the NHL, but 95% of the time, those are your like guaranteed. You're going to see them in the NHL at some point. They're going to be your mainstay players, whatever. But we had Kirill Kaprizov was drafted in the fifth round, everyone. In case you
Okay,
need a reminder, there's so many players like that. Like Wyatt
yeah,
Johnson was another one.
it makes me mad because like mathematically you literally cannot have just first round draft
No,
picks for the
no,
amount of teams that we have.
yeah, and
Like,
like there, I understand like that's the big deal 'cause it's the first round, but like there have been so many players that have been drafted so late or later on that like you're like, "Oh my God, what?" And then it's just like, "Yeah." And now look at them. So every single one of them is important. And
yeah.
I know it doesn't come across that way because everybody's like, "Okay, whatever." But I'm happy for them. Even if you get picked in the seventh round, like you still got drafted, which is fun. And you deserve it
Well,
because
that's
that's what you worked for.
I do love the fact that the NHL does Mr. Irrelevant,
Yeah.
the NFL, sorry.
Yes. I think you said that.
In my head, I said NHL. Anyways,
I think you said NFL, but we
I
got it
love that they do that because I feel like it keeps eyes on the draft
later.
to see who's going
Also,
to be the last pick.
I think now with how good Brock
Brock
Purdy
Purdy.
is, and like he's the most like well-known version of that.
Yeah.
Now everybody's like, who is next year's Mr. Relevant gonna be? And then you follow, like you end up being like, when is that person gonna pop up in the league? And then
Which I just think that's so like cute and
it is.
magical and such like a fun thing that we do as sports fans
Mm-hmm.
is like and I think that like I don't know, like Mr. Irrelevant, like it's kind of like stupid, but it also like gets at the heart of being a sports
Yeah,
fan, which is you're rooting for people
to
to
do well,
literally like
live
live
out
their
their
dream.
dream. Yeah,
That's so cool. Do you know how many
it
people in
is.
this life go through life in such a monotonous and boring way and never get to do
Mm-hmm.
anything that they dream of?
I know, but this is. I make the same point when every time we talk about like rookie laps and like debuts, and people are like,
Those also
Ellis,
make me cry.
yeah, but everybody's like, this is so unnecessary. I'm like, no, let them get their skate, let them get their lap. I don't care. I would, I love that stuff. Like, it's my favorite thing ever when they get to skate out and they get their moment and they get introduced in the crowd and everything. And it just, I was like, that's like literally. It doesn't. I'm sure it sucks if you lose that game, but like nothing else matters except for the fact they are literally making their NHL debut in whatever sense, it just makes me so happy, and I'm like, appreciate
Someone,
it,
as someone
please.
who wanted to and would have, if she could have, jumped on a plane to go see Ryan Ufko debut this season,
They're so special.
It
I
matters
don't.
to their families, it matters to
Yeah.
their friends and their communities. Like, it is a really cool thing to make it and
Yeah.
be that successful in a sport.
Hmm.
And so if you are if you're ragging on someone for being a seventh round pick, saying you're not going to be successful, what have you done with your life? Because you were
That
not
too.
drafted by
That
the
too. That too.
NHL.
Yeah.
So why are you shitting on someone for literally achieving a dream? Because even just getting drafted is a dream for some people. Like knowing that
Yeah.
they're never going to play, but like it's really cool to still like have your rights be.
You still say that you got drafted that. You know what I mean?
Like
Like
I
it
can't
happened.
say
You
that.
did it. No.
I'm not that cool.
I love stuff like that, like first goals, like anything. The other day when I was we're in this part of at work where like every game is just like being replayed that has like significance.
Hmm.
And the other day we had a bunch of them on back to back, and someone at work was like, "We need to have like things on so like people know what this game is." And it was for anyone who's an Avs fan. It was I don't remember what game. I think game 3 of uh the 2019 playoffs when it was Avs Flames and Cale Makar made his debut in the playoffs against his hometown team and scored his first goal in his first game. And someone at work was like, "Yeah, I don't know what this is," and I was like, "How do you not know when you see it says series tied 1-1 and it's the Flames Avs and it's clearly?" I was like, "Guys, what do you mean?" I was like, I've watched it so many times, but I was like, that's something that I remember it happening, and like to this day, I just love those moments of watching a player and like being like, it's their first game, it's their first goal. It just makes me happy. I
There are
love that.
also there are also first games that are cooler than others.
There are.
But
But
like
like that one, I'm like, how do you like
any first game
context
is
clues here?
yeah.
Piece it together. We can figure it out. I think the one that played before that was like Austin Matthews' first game. No. Yeah, it was his first game. 'Cause he also scored 4 goals in it, and it was like crazy.
That's
So I
still
don't know if it
insane to
was like the
me.
first game, first goal day of whatever we were watching, but that was the theme. But yeah, I love those. The first moments are like literally my favorite part of hockey,
Yeah.
besides like winning the cup and stuff like that. But like those first are I literally love it. So congrats to the draft
Cool.
class.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see you guys when you get here, whenever that might be. But happy for you.
Excited for another new era of hockey and
Yeah,
I'm ready for it to start again. I feel like I'm going
I
and like
know.
I'm like very entrenched in like all the contracts right now because free agency starts if you're listening to this when this comes out tomorrow. Um,
Wednesday. Wednesday. Do I know what day it is of the week?
Tuesday? It's the
It's
first.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
You're right.
Um,
I thought the first was Wednesday. I am in fact working that day. I don't know what day of the week it is. I
okay.
know the number. It's
Um, so like there's been so much
gonna be
going on with
big.
that,
Yeah.
but it's just it's like a really fun week in hockey for people who are interested in like the transaction side of it, not just like the
Also,
literal play.
I because I will be going through the trenches on Tuesday myself, even though I'll be at work. I'm so sorry to anybody who loses your favorite player on your favorite team. I have done it multiple times. I will be going through it again. I have my hearts to you because I feel really bad and I'm so sorry. But please be nice to us.
I know that Marner's leaving, but I'm waiting for like the other shoe to drop because I feel like there's going to be another like big, aside from Besser and
Yeah.
Marner, I feel like there's going to be another.
Who was another? There was somebody else that. Why am I not remembering?
I feel like there's going to be like an unexpected one that's like
Yeah. See ya.
just
Yeah.
kills
But just keep
everybody.
in mind, like check in on your hockey friends because
And be
it
nice
sucks
to
having it.
everybody.
Yes, it sucks having a player you like leave a team or get traded or something. So send them some. I don't even know. Just check on them.
Yeah, be
Come
nice to
Tuesday.
everybody.
Yeah, that too.
And with that, we'll see you next week.
Yes. See you next week for all of the. We'll have so much to catch up on.
We will.
But until
Yep.
then, see you
Bye.
later.